this video, we will show you how to replace some parts on your DLE engine. We'll use the DLE 30 for this video, but the procedure is similar for all the DLE engines. Begin by removing the 4-cylinder bolts. It will take a reasonable amount of force to break them loose. Gently slide the cylinder off the engine block. The replacement cylinder will include a gasket. Be sure there is no gasket material left stuck to the engine block. Use needle nose pliers to remove the wrist pin snap ring. Grasp the ring with the pliers and twist it out of the groove. Push the wrist pin out of the piston and remove the piston from the connecting rod. The wrist pin bearing should slide easily out of the connecting rod. To remove the piston ring, rotate it on the piston so that one end is against the ring pin and carefully pry the other end out of the ring groove. Gently work the ring in a circular motion out of the groove until it's free. Take care to spread the ring open only enough to remove it and without scratching the piston. Inspect the piston, piston ring, and cylinder for scratches. Replace any parts that have damage. When replacing the piston ring, first coat the new ring with engine oil or after-run oil. Install the ring into the groove, again, spreading the ring just enough to get it on without scratching the piston. Make sure the ring pin is between the ring ends. Inspect the wrist pin bearing to make sure the needle bearings fit well into the race, and there are no wear marks on the bearings. Replace the bearing if necessary. Lubricate the wrist pin bearing and fit it into the connecting rod. Put the piston back into place over the connecting rod. Note the orientation of the piston on the rod. Be sure this is installed correctly. Lubricate the wrist pin and center it in the piston. Use needle nose pliers to reinstall the wrist pin snap ring. You'll need to twist it in the same way you removed it. Install the new gasket onto the cylinder and then use oil to lubricate the inside cylinder walls. Carefully slide the cylinder over the piston ring and into place against the block. Hold the ring closed in the groove when fitting the cylinder in place. Loosely reinstall the 4-cylinder bolts. We recommend using a torque wrench to tighten the cylinder bolts in a cross pattern to 85 inch-pounds of torque. Check the torque of each bolt one more time using the same cross pattern. To access the reed valves, start by removing the two bolts that hold the carburetor to the engine block. Slide the carburetor heat block off the bolts, and then the reed valve assembly. There are two screws and a metal plate that hold each reed valve pedal in place. Inspect the reed valve pedals for nicks or cracks. Replace if necessary. Remove the carburetor filter cover and check the filter for dirt. If necessary, use carb cleaner to clean around the filter. Reinstall the parts in the reverse order. It is highly recommended to replace all the gaskets during the reassembly process. Never use old gaskets. The carburetor bolts do not need to be tightened to a specific torque. Just be sure they are hand tight. We don't recommend removing the fuel diaphragm cover due to the complexity of the parts beneath it. This should only be performed by the DLE Service Center. The spark plug should have a gap of 20 thousandths to 22 thousandths. Use a spark plug gapping tool or feeler gauge to confirm this. In this example, the gap was too large, so the ground electrode was pushed in a bit until the feeler gauge fit the gap snugly. Other repairs such as crankshaft, bearings, and crankcase replacement are recommended to also be performed by the DLE Service Center.